Well, as I was coming back from picking up my wife from work, I had just caught a commercial on the radio about the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, and the announcer says, "Do you remember where you were on that fateful day 10 years ago?" And then some woman goes, "I was sitting at home watching the early morning news when the news break come in, and they showed the second tower coming down." "What will you do 10 years now that it's 10 years later? What will you do to commemorate this day?" And some guy comes on, "I'm going to plant a tree." Yeah, folks, plant a tree.
Exactly.
Make sure it's a fruit tree. You're going to need all the food you can get.
Boy, amen to that. I hate to say it, but I don't see enough interest yet. And when I say that, I mean visible. I kind of wonder how many people actually question the events of the day, and how many people actually question the events of runaway world governments, because what I see is different than, for example, let me say this. The press has been doing nothing but relentlessly trying to stonewall Ron Paul. They've been doing whatever they can to do so, but whatever they do lately has been backfiring on them. And people don't outwardly come out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Ron Paul supporter," or whatever, because it's not really cool. It's not really the mainstream thing to be a Ron Paul supporter, so a lot of people don't do that. But if you look at the polls, after that debate and everything else, it's overwhelmingly Ron Paul. I think more people actually question the events of 9/11, but they're too afraid to actually come out and voice them. Or they have reservations about, oh, well, what's Johnny going to think? Is he going to spread it? When we talk about this at the water cooler, is there going to be some sort of backlash?
Well, Fork, New York just asked a question in the chat room, what do you have against trees? And the thing I have against trees is their bark is worse than their bite. If you want to plant something, plant a seed of knowledge. Put the seed of a question into the minds of the masses and encourage them to prove you wrong. Catch them at their ego, the lowest form of humanity that you can impress upon them. And challenge them to prove you wrong. And when they do, they'll come back with more questions than answers.
That's right.
I no longer question the events of 9/11, Joe, because I have what I believe is the truth. And when you have what you believe is the truth, you no longer question your reality. Was it an inside job? Wholly? No. Partly? Yes. Bush had the documentation. Condoleezza had the documentation. She told Bush about the attacks that were impending, and he told her to go get bent. They already knew what was coming down the line, and they did nothing to stop it. Was it an inside job? Partially? Yes. Wholly? No. What has been done in the last 10 years since those planes hit those towers? Absolutely jack shit. What's going to get done? Nothing. This is going to go down in history the same exact way JFK assassination went down in history. There's going to be a lot of finger pointing 50 years from now, and still nothing will get done. Subscribe to my blog and donate, please.
When we come back, we'll continue some more. Wow, that was powerful, Johnny. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Don't go away. Again, anybody that wants to contact us, any suggestions, thoughts, comments you may have, email us at thefreedomlink@centurylink.net. I'm Joe Joseph, along with Gwen Caldwell and John King. And as we get this segment started, I want to segue right to John for his King's Court. John, go ahead.
Thanks. Well, folks, I'm coming to you live from my 9/11 10th anniversary all hell's coming down bunker, awaiting word any minute that we are under attack by aliens, terrorists, disgruntled union workers, Elenin or Nibiru, and yes, even God himself. Look, folks, when are you going to realize it's all a part of the game? There's money to be made. How many of you heard this or something like it? We're going to hit the wall, and it's going to be ugly, and there will be riots in the streets and the starving masses that will kill you and take your food. By the way, buy my book and or subscribe to my blog, and yes, I do take donations. I am tired of playing the game. The New World Order has control of the media information on their side, and so does the media on our side of the fence be controlled by the powers that be that control our side. Information is controlled. I am leaving, and I am leaving because what is coming cannot be stopped, so why worry about it? It's like you're 100 years old and you're sick and you're trying to stave off death, so buy my book on life longevity. I have, like many others, have offered solutions, viable solutions to our problems, and have been ignored by the powers that be on our side of the fence. I question your motives when you refuse to help with a potential solution. We have very little time left before things get out of hand, and we are in the age of the quickening. I am therefore going to step away to spend time with my family. You, as the listener, are not looking for solutions, only the problems. The powers that be on this side have much to sell and or lose to let you totally awaken. So when are you going to wake up? When Alanin passes with no ill effects? You do know they are saying it's going to impact the Pacific Ocean, don't you? I'm selling life vests and cans of potted meat if you're interested. Are you going to think now or the next 3 disasters that come along and realize after you bought that hand crank up HD TV that indeed a fool and his money are soon parted? And with that, I just got a little smarter. I refuse to say goodbye, as I will be back from time to time, and I refuse to say goodnight, as this would to infer sleep, which is counterproductive to my work. So I leave you with good morning, and I hope that you wake up. Joe and Gwen, she's all yours.
Thanks.
You know, but that's just it. It's just like after Katrina, you know, there they were. You know, you have the Red Cross, and then you had 100 different charity organizations trying to get your buck to swindle you out of it. And that's what you're finding here in the alternative media movement and everything else. It's pervasive. It's pervasive. But one thing that you are responsible for as individuals is yourselves and your decision-making and your discernment. And if you don't have good discernment, then talk to somebody that does. They're around. I could tell you right off the bat. You could smell BS a mile away on some of these places and some of these sites and some of these videos that you read and some of these articles. And you have to use your discernment, and you have to stay focused on what the problem really is and who the enemy really is. You know, the U.S. government is not the enemy. It's not the enemy. The 99% of the people.
We don't even have a government, Joe.
No,
so how
exactly.
can it be our enemy?
It's not. It's the corporation. Oh, that was good. That was good.
We
said it.
are our own enemy. We are our own enemy.
We sure are. Well, expand on that, Johnny boy.
Well, because
did you hear that? Wait a minute. Hey, wait, John. Did you hear that, Gwen? That's the sound. Go ahead.
It's Nibiru hitting you.
It's Nibiru hitting you in the forehead.
This is the sound of silence.
Yeah.
No, we are our own enemy because we know what's coming down the line and we don't do anything to stop it. We don't care to stop it. We see what's coming. It's almost like you're driving down the road in your car and your passenger's giving you directions and are telling you to turn left or right. You're coming to the wall and you don't see it. Or you don't do anything to stop it. Because why? You don't care. And this is what's going on. There are people out there offering solutions to the problems that we're facing right now, but the powers that be on this side of the fence, the alternative media, doesn't want to hear it, because if they do solve the problem of the contagion known as the globalists or the New World Order or whatever name you want to call them, it's counterproductive to their bank account, so therefore they're not interested. I've ran across that several times. Was my solution the right solution? Is his right solution or her right solution? No, But to turn down any solution just because you want to go make a buck or carry this on an extra week, I really have to question your motives, folks.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, John. You're absolutely right. One thing that's of interest that that I find is that for about every 20 scum-sucking dogs out there, there's one reputable place or individual or people. And one of the ways that I kind of derive the discernment I get discernment from is their the way they present the information. Do you hear a lot of I, me, I told you so, that type of thing? If you start to hear stuff like that, that's a key off. Boom, right off the bat. What? It's a red flag. Is this ego driven? Is this money driven? Why are they proving the point? Why are they saying, I told you this and I told you that and you heard it here? Yeah, these are the types of things that you have to key in on, Is the person humble? Are they cocky? Yeah, Choske Denny came on the other night, Gwen. He was one of the most humble guys that we've had on the show.
Yeah, and what he's doing is powerful. I mean, really powerful.
I mean, you want to talk about a movement that I wish would gain speed and have some sort of true weight behind it of, just so many people. I'd love to see just people get behind that movement because it really is. It's something amazing that they're trying to do, and they're getting nothing from it. There's nothing. There's no gain. They're not making any money off that. That's the thing. But just you could tell by the way they're presenting. He's presenting the information in a way that's just humble, selfless, and just from the heart, and you can feel it.
Well, and Joe, I want to tell you that, we talked yesterday, and you were saying that people that had done some initial investigating of the United Nations of Turtle Island had said that there was negative stuff on that they were, wannabes or whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you actually look at his site and you look at the paperwork that they've done and the response that they've gotten from the government, they're not going at this adversarially. They're merely standing in their legal right, exercising it quietly and calmly, and going forward. They're not asking permission, and that's what they said. We're not asking your permission. We're just letting you know what we're doing. We're repatriating ourselves, Right. And then I went to some of those sites anyway. The point of all of this is that I went to some of those sites, and it's non-Indian people. They don't know anything about the difference between a tribe and a nation. They have no clue what he's doing. Well, he's charging money, and they're selling passports, and they're selling license plates. Anywhere you get license plates, you have to pay for them. You register your car, you pay for it. Why? Because somebody has to process it and make it.
Yeah.
What's so damn unusual about that? Hello?
But it's a noble cause, and it's something that it's going to take time. But you could tell by talking to him that the genuine and the sincerity, it was there. But there are so many people that speak so shallowly about these events. 9/11, big power grab. People for the last week have been talking about it. I've chose to stay away from it because I know what it is. I know what it has to do with, and I'm not going to exploit it for popularity. That's just not that's not how I feel. That's not what I stand for. When we come back, the final segment of the show tonight, so stay tuned, folks. You're listening to Freedomlink Radio on the Orion Talk Radio Network. Welcome back to the final segment of Freedomlink Radio, everybody. This is Joe Joseph, along with Gwen Caldwell and John King. In the chat room, there's just a comment about Steve Quayle and the 100,000 Chinese that are in Mexico and FEMA getting ready for the new Madrid and gun control. let me say this,
And by